Oh god, I'm stuck. Not like this. I have so much to live for. Okay, we're good. Like a regular Barracuda, but only more acidic. What's up everyone? Today I want to talk about The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, released in 1992 for the Super Nintendo. Now we have to ask, what is Link to the Past? And basically it's an action-adventure game, which was the third game in the Legend of Zelda series. Let's talk about the gameplay. The basic concept of Link to the Past is you explore, investigate an objective, enter a dungeon, solve puzzles, defeat enemies, and repeat the process until you reach the end of the game. On paper it sounds straightforward, but in reality...
Nope!
Imagine you were thrown into a world where you know nothing, and someone says, hey, go take on hordes of evil, and here's a rough idea on a world map where your objectives are located. Never mind how to access all 12 dungeons or what abilities you might require. Lots of things can drag this game out and make it last forever. You might have missed a book that translates a mysterious language. Well, sucks to be you, because now you can't get into the last dungeons. That's the key design flaw in Link to the Past. No matter how good you are and how good you play the game, there's certain secrets you have to know in order to beat it. Now, fair enough, I might be a bit biased, but I feel like there's 4 points in the game that really showcase my point. Number 1 is in the first temple, where you need to defeat an Igor, which normally requires the bow, and in this case you have to use a nearby pot, but there was no way to know that. Number 2 was in the Dark World's second temple, where you had to figure out that you must walk through a waterfall to advance. Number 3 was in the Dark World's third temple, where you need to cut down some vines to advance. Again, no way of knowing this was a thing. And number 4 was in the last dungeon, where you push a random block and a chest will appear. You can then use it to hookshot across a pit. How was the average person supposed to know you had to do that?
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
With all that being said, I think game designers have come a long way since this, but it really shows how important playtesting and tutorials are when making a game. I understand that I'm being very critical of Link to the Past, but there's a lot of great aspects as well. Now when I look at the graphics of Link to the Past, they look amazing for 1992. That's not even considering the fact that this game came out in 1991 in Japan. The only thing that came remotely close to this was Super Mario World. Keep in mind there was one time playing through this I noticed the frame rate tanked, but other than that the game was perfect for the remaining 99%. I'm even more impressed by the world design, which was amazing when you look at the opening world, which is Hyrule, but a third into the game we unlock the Dark World, which mirrors the layout of Hyrule but adds a whole new layer to the gameplay. Once we enter the Dark World, aka the Sacred Realm, we can use a magic mirror to return to Hyrule. The contrast of the two realms is way ahead of its time. Let's talk about the weapons of Link to the Past. We have a sword, which has 4 levels of upgrades, and a shield, which has 3. There's a boomerang, which can stun our enemies. There's also bombs, which are a staple of the series. We also get a bow and arrow, which we can upgrade late in the game to have silver arrows. There's the Pegasus boots, which let Link sprint in a straight line.
Run, bitch! Run!
There's the power gloves and Titan mitts, which let us lift heavy objects.
Do you even lift?
We also have the ice rod and fire rod, which fire magic missiles. There's also 3 medallions, which are great for clearing rooms.
What the fuck?
And of course, in typical Zelda fashion, we find a hammer, which can be used for flattening posts. Then there's the hookshot, which can pull Link from platform to platform. And lastly, there's the super bomb.
Kaboom!
There's also extra unlocks, like tunic enhancements, a magic cape that turns you invisible,
Harry Potter!
a flute for fast travel. There's the Zora flippers, which cost 500 rupees. Goddamn Zora's charging an arm and a leg for bloody flippers. But wait, there's more. The Fairy Queen in-game will upgrade your quantity of bombs and arrows you can carry. It'll cost you 1400 rupees all in for both to be maxed out. Wow, I thought the Zoras were bad. I guess it's not all bad though with the fairies. There's 2 of them that'll give you free upgrades. One looks like a typical fairy. The other, she has a great personality. I'm just kidding, she gives the best gear in the game. There's also an extremely polite demon that reduces magic consumption by half. Anywho, let's talk about the enemies of Link to the Past. The number of enemies in Link to the Past is crazy. There's over 65 enemy types in game. Nintendo did a lot of work on the enemies of Link to the Past. There's soldiers, which can carry swords, ball and chain, bows, and spears. There's crows, buzz blobs, which are awfully phallic for Nintendo, Zoras, sand crabs, Poes, Octoroks, Octoballoons, Armos, Bees, Stalfos,
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine.
Hinox, Stall, Snapdragon, Gibdos, Moblins, Tauros, Tektites, Ropa, Hellmauser, Gorilla, Lever, Stalfos Knights,
Shrieking skull will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
Wellmasters, Zaxax, Chain Chomps,
Wow! How original!
and Orko from He-Man.
I'll help too. No!
That would roughly be half of the enemies in game, and I don't want this to run too long. Now, for bosses, there's the Armos Knights, Lanmolus, Moldorm,
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Aghanim, Hellmauser King,
Now to see who this phantom really is.
Mrs. Baker!
Argus, Mothula,
I love Lamp.
Blind the Thief,
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
Cold Stare, Vitreous, Trinix,
I like turtles.
and Ganon, aka Blue Bacon. I think Ganon was an okay boss fight for the end. I don't like the idea that it required us to have a random arrow upgrade to defeat him that was not in the main plot whatsoever. If you didn't go see the fairy in the Pyramid of Power using a super bomb, you're basically screwed on the final boss fight. Once again, another design choice that drives me up the wall. Let's talk about the plot. As the game opens, our main character Link is awakened by a telepathic message from Princess Zelda, calling out to him to save her from the dungeons beneath Hyrule Castle. We then see our uncle prepare to rescue Princess Zelda, telling us to remain in bed. After our uncle departs, we choose to ignore his command and follow him to the dungeons under Hyrule Castle. When we arrive, we find our uncle mortally wounded, who gives us his sword and shield with the purpose of saving Princess Zelda. There's also a massive tease saying Zelda is our ... which has driven every Zelda fan nuts. Alright, getting off topic. We eventually rescue Princess Zelda from her cell, and we escape through a secret passage into the sewers and eventually to the sanctuary. At the sanctuary, the priest informs us that the wizard Aghanim has usurped the throne and is planning to break a seal made by 7 sages to free the dark wizard Ganon from the sacred realm. This means in Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf obtained the Triforce and plunged the sacred realm into darkness. God, I hate the Zelda timelines. Anywho, Aghanim plans to break the seal by sending descendants of the 7 sages into the sacred realm. We are also told the only thing that can defeat Aghanim is the Master Sword. To obtain the sword, we'll need 3 magic pendants, which represent courage, wisdom, and power. Once we accomplish this, we unlock the Master Sword. Shortly after, Zelda calls out to us for help. The sanctuary is being attacked by soldiers. We arrive to learn from the dying priest that Zelda has been taken to Hyrule Castle. We try to rescue her, but are too late, and Aghanim sends her to the sacred realm. We then battle Aghanim. Now, unfortunately for us, Aghanim is a sore loser, so he sends us to the Dark World as well. From this point forward, we free the 7 captured maidens, which were sent by Aghanim. Once all 7 maidens are free, they use their power to break the barrier on Ganon's tower, where we resume our battle with Aghanim. Once defeated, Ganon manifests from Aghanim's body. He then turns into a bat and flies to the Pyramid of Power. We then have the final battle with Ganon and Link, where he touches the Triforce and restores the Dark World and Hyrule to its previous state. This brings our uncle and the king back to life, and the game comes to a close. In my eyes, this was a great plot, and I really wish Nintendo didn't repeat it a bunch of times in the future. Oh well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, in summary, the gameplay is a lot of fun. The story laid out in the game was so good it became the standard of the series. The variety of enemies in game is also awesome, and I loved every boss fight. For negatives, I can't really get over how much I despise the required secrets to advance in certain dungeons, which prevents this from being a masterpiece in my books. Part of me loves this game, and the other part hates it, which leaves me to give Link to the Past a B. I would recommend playing it when you get some free time, but you'll want to have a walkthrough waiting. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you watching until the end of the video. And lastly, but most importantly, I hope you all have a great day. Oh boy, magic mushrooms. I wonder what happened if I ate these. Oh my god, I'm a rabbit. Must find carrots.